This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
Hello and welcome to episode 21 of Too Old to Game. I'm your fear-filled host, Dave Oster. I'm joined today by the wonderful Mark Weber.
What's up, Denise?
And the original man child himself, Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
Too Old to Game is the mecca of gaming podcasts for Most Valuable Podcasts here. We hold down the fort.
The mecca of gaming podcasts. We're the only gaming podcast.
Hence the mecca. Hence the mecca. It applies. You gotta have some confidence, Ricky. Like, this is our jam.
Yeah,
We're old. We play games.
Which MVP podcast do you think is a better gaming podcast than Too Old to Game?
Dude, the Onside Kick, best gaming podcast on MVP.
I'm gonna just turn off both mics off. We're just gonna continue this as a solo show, and we can just cut that side of the table off. No, but it is our gaming podcast. We're old men. We play games, and we get grumpy opinions about things sometimes. Last week was Fallout 76.
You guys got grumpy last week.
Well, Fallout 76 was a shit game, and they shouldn't have done it that way, and they get what they deserve now. Yep. $34 on sale for a brand new game. Like that, they're in trouble.
But you didn't want to face the dragon, or what was it called? The elder monster thingy?
I don't know. It was
the
stupid.
Flame dragon or whatever
so
it was.
stupid. I remember we were talking about the name so much,
You had to bring Khaleesi out of hiding to beat it.
It's fucking terrible.
That's a secret game. That's secret cheat code, by the way. You just get Khaleesi to come out and beat the dragon for you.
She wouldn't beat the dragon. She's the mother of dragons.
She would tame it, and
the
then
dragon.
you beat it.
Yeah. Well,
you're not killing it.
Okay.
You're
you keep saying beat the dragon, and I'm like...
I'm talking gaming
Is this like, are you actually physically harming the dragon, or is it a euphemism for something that I really am curious about?
No, it's not a euphemism for anything.
Because some people are like, chase the dragon. Yeah. Beat the dragon. I don't know, maybe that's something else. Maybe he's got
beat
some...
off the dragon,
There you go, Mark. We're back to our...
Gotta do what you gotta do.
And we're back.
And Mark busts down that door.
So this is a great start. If you're not interested in talking about this, then you're not here for the right thing. But today we are going to be talking about the Sony skipping E3 2019. What's that going to mean for them as a company? What bombs they're dropping on their own? The FTC loot box investigation. The media story of them all. Really, everybody's super sexy story. And then, of course, the year-end game awards. And, we give you our winners, which are the only real winners that matter.
Winners, yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty much the official gurus on this stuff around here anyway. So we'll be going through all that. And if you want to support us and go that extra mile, you can always check us out on Patreon. And if you hit that $10 tier, you can be our first guest on the Too Old to Game podcast, which would be epic. And we'd love to have you on here. We talk about anything you want to. But let's get into it, boys. Enough lollygagging around. Sony skipping E3 2019. This was an announcement that came out a couple weeks ago, but we've had a pretty busy agenda, so we haven't had a chance to actually address it. I think the biggest thing going through my mind is, okay, this is the first time in 20-something years, I think 25 years, first time in 25 years, that they will not appear at E3. Is this a message they're trying to send, or is this them kind of realizing that Nintendo's doing pretty good with their directs, and the fan response to those is ever growing? Are they onto something here, Mark?
I don't necessarily know whether they're onto something or not. I mean, if they full on embrace the Nintendo Direct method of we do what we want when we want, and that's all that matters, then I think it could be cool. They could just do like, hey, we're going to talk about these 3 games on this press conference and these 3 games in this press conference. They can just do whatever they want. The thing that I think about Nintendo Directs is Nintendo went away from E3, but they kind of came back to E3. They were not at E3, but they pre-recorded something to be played.
Right. No keynote, but
year.
It was a smaller kind of presentation.
Yeah, so they still came back. So I wonder with Sony, you either have to, in my eyes, have something, phenomenal planned for us, or you're following a method that Nintendo already abandoned. And I don't think it's going to hurt Sony or anything like that. I just think it's a weird choice. So it makes me think, do you not feel like you have anything to announce? Or do you have something huge to announce that you want to announce, in April?
You want your own platform on your own time frame. That could be a bold call. And, I mean, you got to remember, Nintendo's customer base is a little bit different than Sony's as well.
Yeah.
So that could also impact this. Ricky, what do you think?
For me, it's kind of like... Because you think about it for me, and I think back to their PSX, where that's basically, to me, what they're going to do is why have the PSX. They had it this year. Let me see what's the date on this. For 2017, that was about December.
Yeah.
So why in December you're going to stream your own thing with analysts where basically we're going to reveal this, talk about this trailer, then have the guys talk about it and break it down. They had the MLB The Show, like San Diego studios on to kind of talk about it. Why do everything at E3 under the E3 umbrella when Sony can just say, hey, we're going to stream it ourselves. That way we can just focus on us and we can show you. And then it brings more, I don't want to say revenue, but it brings more eyes onto just Sony. So it's like, hey, you're coming to PSX for Sony and we don't have to compete with anybody else at E3.
The problem, I think, with that, though, is then you're completely conceding E3's stage. You're not having any eyes on you.
Or are they saying, we don't need it? And the big thing is, will it be enough? Like, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
The E3 hype, that's the thing that'll be interesting to see. Can you get the hype in December before Q1 and kind of keep that momentum going for if we're going to announce this game in December and then keep that hype going all the way through without that E3 hype?
That's why I wonder if they follow more of a Nintendo Direct model that's not we have one big event and we're going to have multiple of these.
Like when they did the Smash Bros. Thing and they announced the new characters.
Exactly. And I mean, Nintendo's done that for a while where they have little directs. Now, the problem with that is, of course, you have to always have something big. Because as soon as you give us a Nintendo Direct for Kirby, okay, so many people aren't going to care about Kirby. You know, and I just made some Kirby fans mad.
I was saying, like, Kirby's sort of a big deal. But no, that's fine. I see your point, though, Mark, because every time, like, a Nintendo Direct feels like such a...
Like you gotta give me Mario or Zelda or Smash Bros.
It's just such a cool environment because I feel like the community is like really big on it because they're announced with very little notice. It's like we sort of know like the range of when they like to do these at this point, like how far spaced out. We're like, oh man, I think there's gonna be a Nintendo Direct coming up like next week, and like you just see the hype train rolling in social media.
Yeah,
and they build their own following that way, and I think it makes it more an event. And I think what you nailed on the like. With them going away from E3 and losing that, like conceding that visibility, it's going to be really interesting to see how Sony does because not only for Sony as far as the products, but you know as a company as well. Like a lot of the stock and shareholders, like all that kind of stuff is built up and framed around like, okay, you watch what they do at what points of the year releasing their news out, and that is always the like we can make our prediction on how well we're going to do after E3. That's the measuring stick of the year. For anyone in gaming. And I know Sony has all of their directs, and what they're known for is like their I'm trying to find the word, sorry. Their like intellectual property, like their solo titles for Sony PlayStation.
Like The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man, that stuff.
That kind of content is like that's their jam. But you know, when it comes to E3 time and everybody's like, well, watch this game on our system, watch this game on, you know, the Xbox.
Totally.
And I feel like they are going to miss out unless they have those smaller ones. But even then, you still aren't going to drive it home unless, like, I think going away, I'm cool with, like, no keynote. But, like, you have to have some presence at this event. You can't totally concede the largest gathering of eyes in the world.
Because this is where people are going to be. And this is when the media talks about it. Like, sure, they'll talk about it in December. But everything
you get
around
a month
E3,
of coverage for E3.
It's all about gaming, and that's where a lot of the casual gamers come in and say, hey, tell me about these games that I'm going to get, because I'm only going to buy like 2 or 3 games this year, so tell me about them right now.
I mean, we went through and we did our E3 review, and that was basically the christening of this channel, I want to say, right?
It was. Yeah. Episode 1.
We got hyped over that, and that kind of pulled us back into gaming again, at least recording our conversations about gaming. And I feel like it's such a huge cultural event that it kind of supersedes the like this is just a convention for like game releases. No, this is a gathering of like-minded people who get to share like these kind of moments together.
And they just recently started just letting anybody come to E3.
Exactly, it's no longer a
press event.
Yeah.
What I wonder about is a big thing that people like to make gaming media like to make a big deal about is the kind of history and traditions of E3.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's an order to the way the conferences go.
The order got shook up a little this past year, too.
And Sony's always kind of closed it out because that's just traditionally the way Sony goes. They get to be one of the last ones. And they typically have a prime spot. So I wonder, just when you're looking at that kind of tradition of it, who maybe is Microsoft going to try to sneak in there and say, we want that late spot?
Microsoft had a strong showing at this past E3. I mean, basically they came in the house and went, we know why Sony's winning. They have all their internal properties. We're going to go bring in, was it
All
8
the
dev
third titles.
teams?
Yeah.
Was it like, I think 8 separate dev teams basically for, owned by Microsoft. That's huge. So, yeah, I think they're definitely in a prime position to kind of steal some spotlight here.
For me also, the thing that I think about is, remember the Spider-Man E3 stuff? Was Spider-Man, the footage that we saw at E3, there was that difference that we saw, and like we had a marker here, and the puddles are different, guys. The puddles are vastly different, and the game was fucking phenomenal. Like,
People are looking for an excuse to freak out.
I also wonder if, it's two things. I don't think this is the main reason, but also it could be why kill ourselves to get everything ready for E3 when we're already seeing record sales. We know, like, when it comes to consoles, I mean, when the new one comes out, there could be a shift. But as of right now, if you bought a PlayStation 4, odds are you're not getting both. Like, in how much money, how people have, there's not as many people getting both Xbox and PlayStation just because of how much it is to buy each console.
I think it's funny, though, because like as time goes on,
it's
you
more
buy
like
you buy the one
PlayStation
your
and
favorite,
Switch.
and then you're like, okay, it's been 2 years, and now there's a sale, or it's been 3-4 years, and like you see the Xbox One X sales are kind of going up right now because people are like, well, I've got my PlayStation, I've played every title. And the word I was thinking of was exclusive. I don't know why I couldn't think of exclusive earlier. So yeah, it was like, oh, well, now I can go play Xbox for like a cheap discount rate.
Yeah, now
and
I
that's
got all these games I can go back to play.
Exactly.
I wonder, like, you bring up the point of like, they're having great sales and things are going well, but to me, that's just kind of business 101 of you don't get complacent.
Well,
Yes.
and
You have
or
to
is this
put
them?
your pedal to the metal.
Could this be them basically saying, "Hey, you know what? E3 is how it's been for basically the dawn of time. Let's shake it up a bit. Let's try to be innovative.
Shake it up by not being a part of it?
What if they're trying to change the game by this? They're trying to change it to where we don't have, like, we're going to take a stand. We don't have to be at E3 in order to sell copies. We are confident in our work and in our fans that love these games, and we're just going to show them off, and we don't need E3.
I agree with what you're saying, and I agree with the idea of it. My problem is the marketing perspective of just you are giving away a chance to have essentially tons and tons of free publicity. Do you not think that you're going to do a good job? Like, are you scared of the bad publicity?
What if they're just trying to have, not like the same week, but around the same time, their own, not own event, but their own stream, their own this, their own that to kind of...
What if they try to steal the thunder?
Nintendo already did that, and they went back to E3.
Yeah.
But the only thing I would say is Nintendo is different than PlayStation, where...
As in a more recognized name? With more recognized titles?
Nintendo is more of a family system. PlayStation to me is, because it's not that, there's more just... Because of the popularity of PlayStation over Nintendo, I think PlayStation might fare a little... think they might fare a little better.
I actually disagree with
knows?
you.
Maybe they try this and they're back in 2020,
Which is what
but
I
we
expect,
never know.
because Nintendo already did it, and it didn't have the intended effect they wanted. They came back. I actually disagree with you a little bit of saying that I think Nintendo would be more the successful ones out of this, because it's the family system. The parents that are buying their kids a Switch,
the parents aren't.
They're just going to pick up whatever game comes out.
The parents aren't watching. The age demographic is the parents aren't watching the direct.
That's the funny thing. The people watching the directs are our age.
Yeah.
They're 20. I think the direct age they were looking at was like 20 to 40 range was the highest participants, and it's like 40 E3 up fell off entirely.
Yeah.
And I agree. It's the same with E3, but the thing is, like, E3 creates the buzz for everybody, and the directs, because it's every 3 months, 2 months, whatever it ends up being for a given direct, like, it's just gonna have a different it's going to have a different audience for it and the different hype levels. I think the one thing for me is just I get the let's reach out, let's do our own thing, and let's try to be creative about our rollout cycle. I think you hit early on it with the rollout cycle. This doesn't fit our timeline plan for 2019. Something they've got in the works, whether it is the PlayStation 5, whether it's a couple of launch titles they want to do demos of together.
What if they're ready to announce the next gen and they don't want to do it at E3? They want to do it on their own.
They want to do it earlier.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, they want to beat Xbox to the punch, and that's the thing because we've known about Xbox before PlayStation for the next gen console. Like they were the first ones to come out and be like, yeah, we built the Xbox One X Pro, whatever the fuck the name is, and then it was like, oh, but we're still working on this. This is what the real thing is at the end of the goal. And so I was like, yeah, us too. We got that one. And it's just like, okay. So if their goal is to, they're either not ready for it on that timeline, or they want to steal thunder from that timeline. Yeah, they've got
something big that they want to do on their own.
Why not do that though? Hey, we're gonna announce the next gen system in May.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna announce it in May, why announce it on your own and then have a weak E3 presentation? So let's not go to E3. Let's announce what we're gonna do at E3 when we're gonna announce the next gen, but cap it off with here's the next PlayStation.
Right.
Here's the next gen system.
And the other thing that I think that we might be overlooking is overlooking a little. And Mark, we talked about this being a fan event now. E3 is less press heavy and more of a public event. Something we haven't covered is, PlayStation, could they go to not just a live stream, but something more interactive where it's like, hey, we're doing this thing, worldwide. It's going to be in US, if it's smaller ones, Nintendo Direct-esque, but like live events, like stuff where people can go, like we're having this one in LA, this one in New York, this one in London, this in, Italy, like you name the countries, they can go like in-person events. They really are. E3 is everybody has to come to us.
Yeah.
And they could go
they're very
gangbusters and go international and have stuff where people can come to them and play games and
because that's another thing about E3 is they have the parts where it's like you can try out the games.
Absolutely, because you need that buy-in from a lot of it is influencers, whether it's YouTube reviews or major gamers in the market writing anything You need them.
Technically, like us, we're technically influencers.
Reach out to us. I'll be happy to test things for you and review them. So that's my takeaway from all this is it's a bold move. I don't know if it's going to pay off yet because I don't know what their strategy is. Is it going to be the Nintendo Direct style of, let's schedule out 4 or 5 smaller events, throughout the year and keep a constant peppering of Sony in the media? Or is it let's steal the thunder, let's drop the bombs on the new events? Or is it these potential live things that I don't know, it could be a terrible idea because you might not get the buy-in you want, but it's something different and it's something interactive with fans and it's something that nobody else is doing.
Yeah. And I think that's exactly kind of the point of we can't truly say whether this is a good idea or a bad idea until we actually understand what they're planning. And because right now, to me, I just sit here and look at it from a kind of business marketing perspective of why would you give up an opportunity to have more people talking about you?
I've bought in on what you said. They're ready to announce. They are planning to announce the next gen and don't want to do it at E3 and want to beat Microsoft.
That's the thought of there's got to be something big that they have going on. Otherwise, the other alternative is that they're scared that they don't have enough to talk about at E3, and it can't be that.
You say the S word, and I don't think it's that. I don't think they're scared.
But those are the two options.
I think, if anything, it's either... I would go more of this. It's either they have something big like the next gen to announce, or they're overconfident. I wouldn't say scared. I'd say overconfident. Because the thing that when you look at the quote that they pull out, they even say record, we've had the record sales and PlayStation fans mean the world to us. And it's it just sounds like you're either got something really big that you want to announce, or they might be a little bit overconfident with them winning the console war as of right now.
God, could you imagine if now I'm going to throw in a little bit of my own here just on the end is release titles for the next system if they knew already this is the timeline you should build your games for this. Cyberpunk 2077 obviously being the massive one, Borderlands 3, a game that we've long awaited for. Kingdom Hearts 3, a game
It gets
we're forever waiting for.
postponed. Oh wait, it's gonna come out with the next gen, not
Like,
this one.
if they came out with those 3 games in their first 6 months, how are they not killing it? I mean, that would be doing business.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the jury's out. Like, I just want to talk about it and like start the conversation because there's so many potential things they could do.
Also, another thing they can throw in there, depending on how quickly they've got it into development, they announced the new system this year. By the time it comes out, Spider-Man 2.
I mean, easily could be there. So we'll see about that. Next, let's shift gears and take a look at the sexy world of loot boxes in the FTC.
Again.
Yeah, I mean that's
all going down in the FTC.
That is not how that song goes. Not how that song goes at all. Basically, I'm going to give you a very short summary of this that is probably wrong because somebody's going to call me on it. But the big problem has been that are loot boxes a form of gambling? And it's something that is a worldwide issue because every country is basically policing it themselves. And several countries have outright banned games with loot boxes in them and said, you're either going to give us the full game or you're going to rip out this mechanic of gameplay. We're not going to allow it in our country because we view it as gambling and we don't want to encourage gambling on people of a younger crowd or just in general. I think it's not fair. So with the FTC taking a look, this is the first time in America that it's actually becoming like a major thing here. And it's like, oh shit, is this something that the government or regulations are going to get involved with? Because I look at so many of the most popular games right now are loot box heavy, and it's like, okay, is this just a situation where we need to get some regulations on here, or is this something that could be completely kiboshed on? Like, could we see an end to loot boxes in the next 5 years?
I'm gonna go back to a point that I've always made, and this is my belief when it comes to loot boxes. They are perfectly okay if it's not play to win. Or pay to win. If it's not pay to win, and I'm going to go back to Overwatch, everything from an Overwatch loot box, a skin, a spray, an emote, a voice line, does not matter once. Like, I could have any skin. It's not going to help me win a match. That is the problem with loot boxes, is that some of them turn it into pay to win, and then you can then justify it as maybe gambling because, hey, I'm buying this to try to get this by chance to be better at the game.
Yeah.
If it's all aesthetic, then it shouldn't matter. It should just be, well, really, you're buying it just to look cool. And, I mean, the ones that I, like, even League of Legends, you can tell me if I'm wrong, there's not anything in League of Legends that's pay to win. It's all, like, aesthetic stuff, isn't it?
Correct. It's entirely aesthetics.
But yet again, another Blizzard game, so that makes sense that Overwatch and League of Legends...
League is not... League is Riot.
Okay,
and
that's
they
right.
are
It was
an independent
Riot.
company who eventually got bought up. But yeah.
The point is, don't make it pay to win, and then loot boxes are okay in my mind. If it's pay to win, then of course it could be seen as gambling.
It's still gambling regardless of it being pay to win because you're spending money on an unknown. You don't know the odds of game. That's why there was so much transparency.
Or I feel like we're being very loose with the term gambling. I do not. I'll put it out there. I do not like loot boxes. I would love for the FTC to say, nope, loot boxes are gone. They can't happen because I just personally do not like them. I get what Ricky says, and I agree with what you say.
What about
that
if it's
a skin,
just
that's
in-game
fine.
currency? No real money, just in-game
Nope,
currency.
I don't like loot boxes at all. I just not a fan of it. Never really been too big a fan of it. But I'm also not really a big multiplayer type of gamer, and it's really what loot boxes are for. But I just don't quite... I am not 100% on board with calling it gambling. I think we're using a
Because
little...
usually you got to win money to gamble.
you got to win money. You got to win something, and I don't feel like you're really winning something in this case. It's no different than going and buying a pack of Pokemon cards.
It's gambling.
That's not gambling.
Yes.
A 5-year-old can walk into a
yeah.
store and buy a pack of Pokemon cards.
I'm sorry,
That's
I never saw buying Magic cards as gambling.
You were
Magic-
paying money for an unknown outcome.
And I think that's too loose of a definition for gambling.
And that's fair, but like when I think of it, it's that's the big problem is that you're paying for content. You don't know what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
You've got this. Here's this mystery box. The odds are out there for a lot of these things now because they're forced to be put out in the public.
But you could technically say that with almost anything.
Pokemon cards are a great example then. Why in the early 2000s and stuff, there was never an outrage on Pokemon cards or Magic cards? Now all of a sudden it's like just because it's the video games are ruining the kids, it's like everyone's got
but people thought
with
Pokemon were ruining kids too.
Yeah, they were pretty much the devil.
The problem,
but it wasn't like I never remembered our parents saying
different
like,
time, different culture.
This is gambling. It's teaching our kids to gamble.
But
no, I'm going with the gambling
I
argument.
think the problem is the accessibility. Like in video games, it's built into the game. It's not something that is like you have to go out of your way. And like I was heavily hooked on like Pokemon and then Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, all that stuff. Like crushed my wallet. Like that was my parents actually. Like, and I think that's one of the things is the problem is that it's in the game. It is part of the game and it's easily accessible for anyone of any age. You know, I remember when smartphones first came out. And it was all about like all those like free games on the phone. They would be like,
mobile ones.
Yeah, it's mobile gaming, but like you can pay to win in them, or you can pay to get packs, or you can pay for extra lives.
That's still a thing today.
It is. But like when it first came out, there was that instant outrage of my 4-year-old clicked this and bought $1,000 worth of whatever in-game currency, and like all these horror stories. And I think that's where it started from. It was like, if we build it into the game, we can get their money easier. Like that's the whole thing. Like as a company, the goal is to streamline your way to more money. And that's what they've done in these loot boxes. And even like Fortnite changing from loot box to now season passes. Like it's just side skirting the issue.
Yep.
One of the quotes from the FTC is talking about this, and they're saying loot boxes will represent a $50 billion industry by the year 2022 by latest estimates. That is insane. Absolutely insane. So the question that I come back to you is, since it's such a lucrative system, and so many games are leaning into it with very little repercussions from the fans of those games. Like, there's public outrage, but they still get their money.
Yeah, we're gonna punish them for finding a way to make money.
That is such a loaded statement. I will come back to that. But do you think that this trend will continue? Do you think that loot boxes are here to stay?
Yes, and the thing I think what'll happen is with all this. And this is the first thing I think of when, like, you say, like, my kid bought so much. Parental controls. And if there's not there, eventually systems are going to go, all right, loot boxes aren't changing. We're going to have a way for you to put a parental control in.
Got to take the credit card number off the PlayStation.
So that this won't happen. Well, now you got to have it because of to play online.
Exactly. Yeah. So how do you solve that one?
PlayStation comes out with an update. I'm using PlayStation as an example if they don't already.
Yeah.
All right, we have an update. It goes into the system. Here's an extra parental control where you cannot.
But that's assuming that the parents know enough to do it.
Well, and that's another thing too. If you're gonna be like, "Oh, my kid spent this much," you gotta monitor that stuff. Like me personally,
but that's the point. They don't know to monitor it.
Like
it's the hidden cost of the game.
My dad got charged on his credit card for PlayStation Plus, and he was like, "What is this Sony thing?" And I had no idea I used my parents' credit card for it, and I did. And I'm like, "Oh, sorry, here's $50." But that's the kind of thing of like, parents just don't know. I mean, does your mom know what Bumble is? Like, they just don't
actually
know.
Ricky's a very honest person with his family, so yes.
Yeah. Well, at Thanksgiving dinner, she was watching me swipe.
Yeah, that's weird. They have a weird family dynamic.
Swipe right on that one. She's very
exactly.
pretty.
She said that one's got a dog.
She looks like she's going to give you a good time. But
not
no, like
exactly
that's the thing where it's like parents don't know what their kids are doing. I mean, when you're around teenagers now, people who we might only be like 10 to 12 years older than, they're doing so many things on computers and with their
do you think
phones that we have no idea what it is.
So do you think it's all going to stay the same with our generation when we start having kids? Not our generation has already started, but as more of us become adults, you just think it's just going to stay the same? Where it's like, well, we don't understand, or because we grew up with technology
you're always going to be behind.
We're going to know a little bit what to watch out for.
You will always be behind on technology.
Our parents were ahead of technology from their parents, and their parents were ahead of technology from their parents. Like, it's just part of like how you evolve as a human. Like, there's always new coming out, and you will never be able to keep up with it. Like, I remember what was it? My uncle was like big in tech as a kid from me. And now he's like, I look at that and I'm like, I bet you a 12-year-old knows more about this than like he does at this point, because all of his stuff, you see that point where they like sort of cap out on like how much they can, I don't know, maybe that's just mean to say, but like how much they can pull in from like all the new that's coming out, because we're expanding at such a rate of like technology growth that it's not practical to think that if you weren't growing with it, you're not going to be like super invested in sticking with it.
You're going to have other priorities. Things come up. I mean, I struggle to. I love playing video games, and I struggle to play all the games I want to play just because I got other stuff going on. You just can't possibly keep up with these things, unfortunately. And some people can. Some people can't. Obviously, I mean, my wife's aunt, who's a programmer for a bunch of different companies. She's been a programmer for, but she is, in her 60s and still is up on everything because that's just the person she is. She loves it. Coincidentally, she doesn't have children, but so maybe she's got more time to keep up with things. Who knows?
Could make that, yeah,
you can make that connection. Yeah. But I mean, that's just the hard thing is like you can't ever put it on the parents. So that's where I think the government might feel some pressure of they do have to step in, because it's like the parents are going to keep getting burned on this. We're going to see lawsuits about it. Now, does the government care about that or not? And they just say, we'll just let them figure it out, is a different story. But it is difficult. It is interesting because I do think loot boxes are just a thing. They're going to be a thing until the government steps in and tells you no, they are no longer a thing.
I feel like parental controls will happen before loot boxes.
Parental controls already exist.
No, but like more so. Like extra steps to make it to where here's another wall that you have to get through before you can hit that purchase.
But why should they have to keep making these walls? Like this is it's being accused of being a gateway to gambling, basically. We're teaching young kids to gamble.
Taking advantage of addictive personalities.
Exactly. And that's sort of the thing. It's like, is there room for ethics in gaming development? Like, as a bigger question, because I feel like loot boxes equals money for any game of any sort of success level. Like, you can have a bad game out there and you're still going to make some profit off of the loot boxes.
Yeah.
So should we expect more out of these gaming companies, or should we be like, the ethical burden doesn't fall on them, it falls on the parents, like Ricky's saying, where it's like, you need to make sure your kids take care of their own shit. Like, that's on you to do.
And another question, and this is going to sound very dickish of a question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Like, when you say, that it's like we're teaching kids to gamble, you said you saw Pokemon and Magic as gambling.
Absolutely.
And you were totally into it.
Yep.
Do you think you developed a gambling problem from Magic the Gathering?
I don't, because I fell into other vices.
But let's be honest. Like, Dave has an extremely addictive personality.
Yeah. Well,
I hope you know that, because
I'm very aware.
I just outed you.
I go hard. Like, when I find something I like, I burn it into me.
I'm the same way.
So here's the thing: if I gave
too.
Dave $1,000 and said "Have fun," and he goes to Harris, he's going to burn that money. It's going to go away. He's not coming back with the money.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, and I know that, and my spending habits are around me not spending money on myself.
Let's play World of Warcraft, Ricky, and then like a month or two later, Dave's
come on, Ricky, let's play.
Y'all saw me do that. I literally have done that on the podcast. Like, I will burn, like, if I'm passionate about something, I will go all in on it, and that's
why I didn't want to buy Red Dead at first, because I wanted to see how long he plays.
And that's fair, because I stopped playing.
And I think that's honestly just kind of anybody who is, and don't get mad when I start using this word, but anybody who's slightly more than a casual gamer, has an addictive personality, at least to an extent. Every person I know who plays more than like buys more than like 4 games in a year, has an addictive personality, at least to an extent.
I think a lot of it builds into like, and I don't want to go super off topic, but like, it's part of escapism. Like, it's, you want to go play these games because it's better than what's around you at the moment. It's just an easy escape. It's like, I don't want to think about my life problems right now. I'm gonna play video games for a while.
Yeah, totally.
And like, it seems like that's more of a cultural issue, like worldwide right now. And you see that in other countries like Japan and South Korea, especially heavily right now, China as well. And it's that culture where like, real world sucks. Reality sucks for a lot of people. But if I can dive in and play League of Legends or if I can dive in and play these games instead, like I'm going to, and that leads into it. And I just feel like there's a cultural problem behind it, but you're right, because once you start devoting time to it, they're going to spend more time on it, then it becomes an addiction. Yeah. Then the addiction turns into, there's downsides to addiction. Clearly, it's an addiction.
You guys remember Farmville? I literally, like, in freshman year of college...
Never played Farmville.
Like, I knew how long everything took.
Yeah.
And you, of course, with Clash of Clans, you remember this too. But, like, I knew how long
I would spend a third of my paycheck on those gems.
You just said that out, like,
I did
hear that, people.
Well, but part-time. Like, I was making $300 a month, like, $300 a paycheck. I would spend $100 on gems. Because I could. I didn't have to pay anything. I didn't have loans at the time, so I could do that.
You just didn't have to pay them back.
Yeah, I couldn't pay them back.
That's future Ricky's problem.
No,
they were in their,
pay them
they were
back
in their
when they're in
6
deferment.
They were in their 6-month thing, so I was like, whatever. I'll deal with that when they
no
actually
judging
come
here.
up.
I can't judge. Like that's the thing, and that's where I kind of land on the like
into a financial advice podcast.
But no, like so that I think that's an entirely valid point, Mark, and that's sort of thing is like as a parent, as a person, I don't know if the burden should fall entirely on you. You have to be self-aware to an extent, and parents obviously need to teach their kids right from wrong and like guide them towards best life practices. But they're kids, and it's fun, and it gets them instant gratification, which is exactly what the game wants.
Exactly.
It's I got that loot box, and I got that awesome skin out of that. So, like, going to that loot box again means there's a chance I get something else I really want. And that's how it builds. And that's sort of the scary part. And that's why I think that we should hold gaming develop companies to a higher standard as far as the ethics involved in their gameplay and what's available. Like, this can go all the way back to like the DLCs and like selling a full game versus selling half a game, and then you have to pay $15 and then $15 later and then $15 later, and then by the end of it you'll have a whole game in a year and a half. Like it all kind of works together, and I think that like our generation, millennials and in general, like we have the right frame of attitude where it's like we should not stand for this kind of garbage going on in our world right now. Like if that's one thing we can all agree on, it's like yes, I'd like to pay for a game and get the whole game. I'd like to not have to gamble to get things that make me, enjoy the game more. Like there's just some stuff where it's like our generation's loud. We complain very well, complain a lot, and we do it publicly. So, like, I feel like if there's any lifetime,
are you just talking then about pay to win loot boxes?
No,
or like even like Overwatch
in general. Yeah, I think Overwatch as well. I don't care if it's actually giving you any in-game advantage because it's still a gambling like activity. And that's sort of where I land on that is I think that, if it can die, we're at least the right generation. We have the right mindset and we have the right activism approach towards this. But I don't know that this will actually go down because every country is going to do their own thing. And look, there's money to be made elsewhere is what I'm going to keep hearing.
And the thing I'm thinking about is maybe the reason I have the mindset that I do is number one, I don't have kids. Number two, I'm at the point now where like Overwatch is mainly the only game I play with loot boxes.
Yeah.
And if there's a holiday event and I'm really into the game, if I have the $50, I'll be like, okay, I'll drop it just to see how many of the holiday or the special event skins I can get.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like I just think of it as I'm going to just play this game as much as I can to get that currency and then buy what I want with that currency.
Right, and there's a different argument for if you can earn the currency or if you're paying real life money for it.
Yeah.
Because like Overwatch has both. You can either pay for it or, hey, I can play enough matches, get this currency, and then just buy it
and
with
you
the
get random loot boxes as well from Overwatch.
From leveling up and stuff.
The other side of this argument, and I do want to be fair and hit both sides, is that loot boxes are a way to continually encourage development of a game. It increases its lifespan because you're paying back to that game development company in hopes that they continue making new products for you so you can buy those new products. It's a cycle of support.
Let me support the game more so than the $30, $40, $60 I paid for the game.
Exactly. And that's one of those things. It's like you get so much out of it. And I wonder if that's the argument that I can see is why these won't die is because Overwatch is a game where you buy it once and you have all the characters in the game
and all the extra characters that they make.
Every future
But
character
you get,
release.
like, I feel like the issue though is when we talk about Overwatch, we're talking about the exception to the rule.
I agree with you. We should talk about Call of Duty. We should talk about Fortnite. We should talk about those kind of Battlefront 2.
Exactly.
Yikes.
When
you
we
know?
and that's the thing too, like because you talk about you're giving back, and it's one thing if you pay $30 for a full 5-hour, 6-hour DLC, and you feel like you got that.
Then why
worthwhile.
not? Then why not force them to follow the Overwatch method? Or
that's another
model.
thing.
I don't even know if it's the best we've got right now, but it doesn't mean it's the best out there. Like,
because you're still saying that you would spend $50, and $50 might not be the actual thing.
That's the highest one.
Yeah, but let's say you spend $30 instead on skins and stuff like that, which is fine. And like we said, that's one thing. It's different than pay to win, but it's still like paying $30 for skins. That's not really supporting extra product. And
I'm
stuff
sorry.
Like
so
that.
it's 2 loot boxes for $2.
right, so you're not even guaranteed your drops.
You're not.
That's the thing that's clear on that.
But if you get in that game, if you get duplicates, you do get. It's not
a small portion of the currency back.
Yeah, I mean it's something, but
no,
it's
but
like,
again, you can't get what you want instantly. So I have to buy more loot boxes to gamble
so
on the chance that I will get what I want.
So it's $2 for 2, 5 for 5, 10 for 11, 20 for 24, and then 40 for 50.
And do they tell you what your odds of getting the thing you want?
I believe
Overwatch
they did
was
in
forced
China.
to publicly reveal that to have the game
Only
be available
in certain countries, though, right?
Correct.
But you could look it
But
up, and it's the same.
The numbers are the same
everywhere.
across multiple countries, supposedly.
Supposedly, there's
Correct.
no guarantee that they are actually the same.
At the moment, I don't believe there's a way to guarantee that. No.
Yeah, and that's the tough thing of like if you don't know. And I think, like I said, there's a difference between paying for extra multiplayer maps, and paying for a pink gun instead of a gray gun. Where it's like you're not really. I don't think the argument of like you're supporting them and they're giving you extra product. I don't think that works because they're just changing the color of your uniform or something like that.
But
I don't think that
does
counts.
take support time. That normally when a game goes live, like
It does.
in the old days, it was you're a game dev, you make a game, the game gets released, your job is done. You're on to the next project, and hopefully it's with another company, and that's the thing.
The amount of time it takes to change the color of a gun is way different than the time it takes to build a map.
Right, but I mean it's apples and oranges. And the problem is there's no clarity as far as like when I spend $50 on Overwatch, that means $20 of that is going towards this group, $30 is going towards this, or $5 to here. Like that would be awesome to know your impact makes a difference. And that's why I wonder if we see the cycle but lean into a different model as far as, you want to play the game? There's a subscription fee. Like, is that the answer? Is World of Warcraft doing it right with subscription? You get constant development, you get constant updates. You're paying money back to get access to this game, but you're paying money so the game can continue rolling.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't play Overwatch if it was a subscription. Like, it's one of those where...
But no, I mean, like, can you think of another game like that doesn't use loot boxes as a way to do that? Fortnite does it with their season pass. How can they keep doing it? Well, people keep buying the season pass. They keep pushing money into the system, and that way they get it out. Warframe, a great game that I've spoken highly of multiple times. They have in-game currency that you can buy to speed up things or to get different in-game items. Like, it's clearly... And that stuff, they are fairly transparent as far as, you're spending money on this stuff? Cool. That means we can roll out more new stuff. And they are, like... a very on it and honest company, so give them credit for that. But not every company is like that. So I don't know.
It's tough.
It's tough, and I don't have an answer whether it's going to happen or not. I think that loot boxes are likely going to get cracked down on to some extent. I don't think they're going to go away. I don't think in the next 5 years they're going to be gone because there's just so much money in it. Would I love if they did? Absolutely, because I think it's a problem with gaming. It's not quite a cancer. But it's like everybody knows it's a thing, and it's a sad acceptance almost because I don't have a better answer.
And it's really preying on, first of all, young children.
Yeah.
And second of all, people with addictive personalities. They know you're susceptible to it. I mean, I'm not going to make the comparison that's in my head because I don't think I have a comparison to make.
Isn't most ads on TV trying to?
Well, yes.
Ads are trying to
into
sell
that?
something. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why there's a certain comparison in my mind that I'm, like I said, it's not fair, but like McDonald's opening up yet another McDonald's in a low-income neighborhood because they know that these people can't afford nicer food, so they're going to buy this food, thus making them continual people going in because it's not healthy food. It's causing, potential weight issues and things like that, which makes them go back and back and back, and it's cyclical in that case. That's taking advantage of susceptible people or susceptible socioeconomic issues, whatever it might be. That's exactly what these loot boxes do.
And that's straight from the cigarette companies, too.
That's actually the comparison that I was thinking of.
No, that's fine. Lean into
which I don't think was super fair. But the cigarette company, how they really, really got... cigarette companies, I should say.
Yeah, it's not
really got a foothold was with the army.
Yeah.
People who were stressed out because they could die at any minute were being given free cigarettes because it was a way to relieve their stress.
Calms the nerves.
Yep, exactly. So you had a bunch of addicts come back wanting to buy this product, spreading it out to other people.
Nicotine's addicted, people.
Exactly. And that's the thing that makes it a little unfair with the whole nicotine is an addictive substance.
But so is gambling. Gambling's an addictive activity.
And things like that. Yeah.
It's gratification for doing an unknown. And that's, I think at the end of the day, all kind of comes together.
Yeah. I just think it's just the fact that it's knowingly taking advantage of specific groups and they're targeting specific groups for it. That's where it gets very shady.
Totes agree. Let's close on a high note, boys. Let's hit up the Video Game Awards, brought to you by Too Old to Game. These are our awards.
Brought to you by...
I may be reading them from thegameawards.com.
Yeah, they might seem very familiar to the Game Awards.
But they're totally ours. Definitely ours. So...
We're the only opinion that matters, right?
I think that should be our new slogan. We're the only opinion that matters.
Too old to game. We're the ones that matter.
Yeah.
Are the only ones that matter. We'll work on it. Work in progress.
Yeah.
So let's get down to business.
To defeat the Huns.
Let's just start on the best one. Game of the year. Cool. We're going big. We're going home.
Oh, man.
Only, but not going home.
We're not going home yet because we're going to do like 10 categories probably.
Damn.
We'll see where we're at time-wise. So for Game of the Year, the games up for this year are Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Great game. Celeste, great game. God of War, great game. Spider-Man, great game. Monster Hunter World, pretty good game. I'm going to get some hate because I fell out of that one. I was super deep in and I fell out. Addictive Personality is a bitch. And Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yep.
Phenomenal game. So on the upside, I don't think there's a miss in this category.
No.
I want to congratulate them on that because there are some other categories. It's
every single game has hit on something.
Yeah, I agree. So, Ricky, with Game of the Year, kind of run me through like your thought process for each game because I know you've played.
I've played every one, but except Red Dead. I haven't dealt with it.
And trust me, Mark and I can cover that one.
Yeah, we got you covered.
So I want to let you run with it.
Assassin's Creed is a no for me from the start, only because great game, great story. There were a couple things I didn't like. You guys know I've said it before. Didn't like all the boat stuff. The naval combat was horrible.
Ricky's not
for
about
me.
Boats and hoes.
I'm not about boats and hoes, man.
Maybe hoes, but that's not boats.
Number two, I hated the part of the story. Hey, I got to 41, or I got to 41, and I got to get 2 more levels to continue my Odyssey to get to a level to where I could continue it. So I didn't like it.
Got to get some levels to continue his Odyssey.
Celeste has a deep one in my heart because it's a platformer, so it goes back to my nostalgia roots. It was so frustrating. Like, how many times this game to me, it could be also titled Fuck. Because it would be like, fuck. And I would die like 100 times in a level. But it never penalized you for dying. It actually encouraged it because you're learning like, okay, learn, die. Okay, learn, and you keep going and going. Plus the story was phenomenal. God of War, I'm not all the way through it. So far, I love it. Beautiful. Kratos is still an asshole. I want to know what the original one was like. Yeah, I want to know what the original one was like because he kind of seems like an abusive father now. So if he
we can only imagine what they toned down.
Exactly. Yep. And the music is phenomenal in it. Spider-Man's got, I'm going to spoil it. It's my vote. It's got a soft spot in my heart. Amazing game, amazing story, amazing everything. Monster Hunter World's probably last place because like you, the story sucked.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, the story was poop, and then the ending was like, really? This is what I fucking like came here for?
But again,
and then I fell out.
That's a game where it's about
You're hunting the monsters, man.
I feel like it's a game about the grind. Like that's why the problem lays with me is that
where it lies.
where it lies. Thank you. That word.
Play it where it lies.
Play where it lies. That's what the problem lies with me is that like we played through the story mode and I feel like yeah, that's cool. And then the whole game is like, oh, but if you kill that monster 500 times, you get all the gear from that monster,
weapon, yeah.
which means, oh, guess what? You can go to the next one and the next one. And it just kind of keeps building and gets tougher. And like, there's something fun about that.
There's a lot of side missions to kill this thing so you get XP and money. Oh, and then the supplies from it.
So like, it's got a unique genre and it's got a very passionate fan base. So I do want to give them credit. But like,
when you had people to play with, it was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So a little repetitive. And that's the thing that kind of killed it for me.
And then there's Red Dead, which is you guys.
Yeah, I think that Red Dead's, in my eyes, it's a fairly clear-cut type of answer. It's super hyped, extreme anticipation, and it met and exceeded all of that anticipation. I mean, the world that it lives in is great. It feels very real. It's absolutely gorgeous. There's a few other gorgeous games on this list as well.
Yeah.
But absolutely gorgeous. It's got a good story. Because as everybody knows, Rockstar will always give you a great story. There's not too many things that I think are really significant issues with it. Not a single game on this list is 100% flawless.
No.
But it's overall, I think it's just a really awesome experience that you really get into. I mean, I do think that Spider-Man does a really good job competing in the experience.
Yeah, I mean, because that was always the thing. You get to be Spider-Man, and that's everybody's like, you feel like Spider-Man, the swinging through the city. Every
I just
action
swung around for hours.
It was gorgeous. It was fun, and it had like great physics, so you felt like the momentum was really with you.
And you can murder people.
And you can murder people with Spider-Man, which
no, Mark. He hung them off the side of the building.
Right, but when you check this out, there's no people there.
Well, they didn't animate it, but they twipped it. He twipped to the side.
One of my favorite gifs was the him getting people attached to a car and then flipping the car over to murder them, to just hurt them for a little while.
Yeah, that doesn't kill people,
well,
right?
Those Sable agents, they don't have no soul, so it's okay to kill them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those Sable agents, man. If you work for Sable, you're a bad cookie.
That's right. Mark, I've got to agree with you. And it might be just recency bias adding on top of this, but I feel like Red Dead Redemption 2 launched as the most polished product I think I've ever played on release. Like, I was pissed at the download time because it was like, here's 2 discs, so there's an hour and a half before you can actually play the game. That kind of hurt me.
Yeah,
but I gotta admit,
the
entire time I was just like, come on. But no, like, it is an engulfing story, and I think what does it for me is the visuals plus the soundtrack, the scores to this. And it's beautiful, and there's everything to do. The only knock on it, in my mind, is still this whole online play, which I feel like that's a bonus. Like, honestly, if you gave me this as a final product for a game on release and that was it, and I'm happy that I paid my $60 to these people. Like, there's not a doubt in my mind. I would have paid $100 for a game that has this many hours of content available in it. Yeah, sure. Like, that's one of those games where it's like, I don't feel bad about the money I spent. I'm like, take my money. This has been fantastic.
Yeah. And obviously the online's kind of an issue, and I personally am not super. I didn't care about the online anyways that much, so I was okay that it's kind of having some issues. So.
Different value for everybody. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So, Ricky, your final vote for Game of the Year.
Spider-Man, hands down.
Spider-Man, hands down. Mark?
What game is Spider-Man, hands down? I vote Red Dead Redemption 2.
And I, as a tiebreaker, not a shocker here, I'm definitely going with Monster Hunter World. No, it's Red Dead Redemption 2 in my mind.
It's a 3-way tie.
As a tiebreaker, you're going to go with the one that no one voted for.
Why not? Look, I want to love Monster Hunter more than it was because, like, I'm a huge Diablo 3 fan.
The story
so, like, give me a grind.
So bad, though.
It just sucked.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It was like the ending to me. I was like, really? I grinded through this to get to this?
You hit 1/10 of the grind of the game, though.
Yeah, no.
That's the thing.
I was hardcore story. I wanted to get through that story. And then I was like, really? This is it? This is what I...
That's why I got to get you into Diablo 3, because there's actually story there, and it's actually quality.
My cousin and our family friend, Sean, actually said that when I buy my Switch, they said, get Diablo.
Yeah.
And they're going to put me on their They said don't buy online because they're going to put me on their family plan so we can all play Diablo together. So you got to get a Switch so we can play Diablo.
He talked me into Destiny 2. I'm a little salty about that, but you know what? I'll do it.
I remember because I wasn't going to get Destiny either. And we'll talk about Destiny in a second, I think.
All right.
Because fuck Destiny.
We will, actually. So with that, we come to a close for Game of the Year. We've spoiled, 'cause I know people want to hear that first.
Yeah.
Everything else is bonus content for them. So we'll be picking up with Best Ongoing Game. And this is continued development of content out there, player experience over time. It starts off with the aforementioned Destiny 2, Forsaken. Ooh. Fortnite. Surprised to see that here. No Man's Sky, the redemption story.
It's a cool little redemption story. It is.
It is. They made a playable game after like a year and a half. Pretty cool. Overwatch, we got some fans here. And Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Which
looked awesome at first, and I never played it.
I know, and that's the thing.
It looks so cool.
It is cool. Like from what I've watched, it's cool.
I've watched about 15 hours worth of content at least.
If you've got a group, like a group of 5 or 6, I think it's 5.
Yeah, because
I can go ahead.
Siege 2, dude, the Siege 2 trailer, I was like, I'm buying this game. Like that was my first. I was like, I'm buying this game. Probably. I could be talked out of it.
The best thing I like about it is the one YouTube channel I watched. Two of them were like, "Hey, you want to fuck with them? Yeah, let's fuck with them." And they turned to their buddy and went headshot and killed him.
Yeah,
and you can friendly fire. So I mean, that's kind of cool.
Friendly fire is the best.
To me, this is a 3-dog race, though.
Yeah,
It's Destiny, Fortnite, Overwatch. With really, let's be honest, Fortnite's probably going to win it when we get to next Thursday.
It's a little popular.
It is popular.
I am biased here. I got to vote for Overwatch.
But I think
this is the one where, like we mentioned before, I paid, what, $40 for that game?
Yeah.
On the computer, I just paid $20 for Black Friday.
Yep.
And everything you're getting, all the new characters, and you never have to repay for it.
So they've made, what, in this past year, because this is a one-year award, so they've made a couple of characters and a lot of skins, a lot of side
Maps,
pieces, bunch of side
modes,
pieces,
like
couple maps, couple game modes.
And they adjust the players, too. They change things
They
up
do
about
balance.
They constantly balance.
Well, that's one thing I want to hit here, because that Overwatch is a game with a competitive scene that is truly competitive. They have their own Overwatch League. It's a worldwide thing, and it gets money pumped into it like crazy. So I have to respect Blizzard because they do it right. Like everyone saw what was happening with the Counter-Strike scene. Then League of Legends and like the MOBA rise really blew it up. Money investors like crazy. Overwatch jumped right on that. It was like, oh, you guys doing your own thing over there? We're going to have our own league. We're going to have our own stadiums.
And
like they want another level.
And they're adding new Overwatch teams for this next season.
Like it's growing, and they're constantly putting that dev time back into the game to keep it constantly changing, because you don't want a stale game. That's the enemy of competitive players. So I look at that and I go, kudos to Overwatch for that, like credit to. But is that anything that outshines something like Destiny, where they released basically another half of a game this year? I mean, let's be honest.
But I feel like that's kind of a problem at the same time. Like it's one thing to be like, we're going to constantly
Overwatch
tweak.
gave you a full game and then some.
And
Destiny's
then
like, here's half of our game.
Yeah,
and then we'll give you the full.
And they're
game.
and for Overwatch, it's like
you tried. You
Yeah.
tried to bet. You
it's
tried
just
to
you're
going to
constantly learn and be like, what can we do better? Okay, here's some things. For Destiny, it's like, here's part of a game.
They did it twice.
Yeah,
They did it for Destiny 1 and
give you the
Destiny
rest
2.
of the game
we're
later.
stupid enough to do it. We bought it.
No, you talked me. Sean
Sean
talked
talked
you
us.
into it. Our family friend Sean, not Anderson.
not
talked
Sean
you
Anderson.
into it, and then you talked me into it.
I got that problem.
Yep.
God damn it, Dave.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Again, didn't buy any DLCs
Mark,
for it.
No.
You're ruling out Destiny 2.
Destiny 2 is out.
I
gone.
can't
Probably
argue with
last
it. I just
place.
wanted to give the credit for it because, to be fair, they did release a couple chunks of content.
Yep.
And Destiny fans are love it and hate it. Like, they will hate the shit out of the fact that they got, this happened to them again, but they will love the gameplay. And there's something addictive about it. They keep coming back. No Man's Sky, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
This is a game where
It's a
Promise
cool
the World
story.
delivered nothing. And this past year has been trying to get back and earn back the reputation.
Yeah.
That they rightfully got like publicly criticized for months, and it was just, how dare they do this to everybody? And now it's like, oh yeah, that stuff we promised you on release, we've almost got all of it there now.
Which is funny too, because at the same time, I totally get it, and I'm totally right there for a lot of it. But it's also like, we're getting mad at this company because we got super hyped for their game.
They promised a lot.
They did.
They did not deliver.
They did. That is
that's
very
their
accurate.
own fault. Like, I don't think,
But games promise a lot and don't deliver on those things a lot.
yeah, but this was like core gameplay concepts we were hoping for.
People like really took this to heart. But I do think it's cool in the story of it, and I'd watch a documentary about this. I think it'd be cool of like,
I would love to see it behind the scenes,
yeah,
like in the dev studio.
How badly things went, how surprised they were that everything went terribly.
Yeah.
And then how they didn't give up. They kept working on the game, and they completely changed a lot of things. They completely added some things. It's still not 100% where, I personally wish that it would have been.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a really cool thing. It doesn't win this award by a long shot, but it's a cool story, and I'm glad they're at least being considered.
Yeah. Mark, what is your pick?
I would pick Overwatch on this
Really?
one. And the reason why
never
I'm
played Overwatch.
shocked.
I haven't played half the games on this one. But my reason I pick Overwatch really is because I think Fortnite is super popular, but I don't think they do the kind of tweaking and the kind of analysis that I think you get out of
they've
Overwatch.
got different seasons, but
They have
it's not the
seasons.
same.
And, no, they do. I will give Fortnite the credit. They have seasons. They tweak the guns. They tweak the damage. They tweak the spread of the damage.
Yeah.
And the content on the map. I think that's one of the things where it's like they do a little bit every season, and I feel like that is I don't want to say on par with Overwatch because I feel like Overwatch has done more for the game and built up their competitive scene where Fortnite has like
Overwatch is for the big boys. Fortnites are for the kids.
yeah.
There you go. That's
Yeah,
your
All,
true
all,
old
the,
moment right
all
there.
the adults that play Fortnite are like, F you, Ricky, I play Fortnite.
It's a fun game.
Downvote.
It's fun, but I agree. Unanimous. It's Overwatch winning
Overwatch.
the best ongoing game. All right. Mark, this one I want you to run the table on. The best game direction.
Yep.
So we have A Way Out, Detroit Become Human,
Yeah.
God of War, Marvel's Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption 2.
I honestly think this one's probably one of the most difficult ones.
And again, this is, to clarify, for Best Game Direction, it's an award to the game studio for outstanding creative vision and innovation in the game direction and design.
And that's the thing that kind of sticks to me is creative vision's one thing, but it's the innovation part. I honestly have to put it out there. I don't know much of anything about A Way Out.
It was a tandem game where you and a friend play
Broke out of
together,
prison.
and you break out of prison. But you each control a character throughout the story, and the story's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And it leads to some interesting decision making and
is cool.
like teamwork required in order to pass certain levels. So
So maybe I would, if I knew more about it.
that was fairly unique.
Yeah, I would maybe agree with that.
Yeah.
Detroit Become Human was an awesome game, but and it's absolutely beautiful. It's got an amazing story. It's totally creative. I love all the actual branching directions.
Did it change anything though?
But
in
that's
the
the
butterfly
thing,
effect.
It did. It did.
Like
I mean,
I'm thinking like
yeah.
from
Mm-hmm.
what is it? Inside like
No, I know what
what's
you're
the one
saying.
I'm not Dying Light. It's Inside something. The like horror game that was the choices you make affect, and it was the same kind of thing.
If you're wondering about like how everybody complained that Mass Effect 3, it didn't matter any of the choices you made, you still ended up at the same point at the end of the game.
Yeah.
This actual, like, if a character dies, you just lost that entire storyline. That storyline
Like
is
how
gone.
you said someone died, and you're like, oh, I can see that tree, and that would have
And
been
they
cool.
show you, that like, hey, if that character wasn't dead, you could have done all these things. We won't tell you what they were. We just want you to know that there were things you missed out on. But like, the part that I struggle with the innovation part is, it's not really that different than Beyond Two Souls, Heavy Rain. You know,
It has a genealogy you can trace back.
yeah,
A couple gaming generations.
It's the same game that Cage always kind of goes for, so it's not really that innovative. But at the same time, I don't know that many of these other games are. I mean, God of War is a very familiar feeling God of War type of a game.
Ricky, do you feel like they changed up a lot in this generation?
The thing that is so much different with it is the thing that is probably the most innovative with it is how it's all about Norse mythology, where it's Kratos now with his son. You can kind of like, I haven't gotten far enough in the game to know for sure, but it kind of feels like the wife was a Norse god, and they were living in a forest, and now it's all Norse mythology. But besides that, it's kind of God of War now with a talent tree. Like, with a talent tree and with upgrading your gear to where it's like,
things that have
there's new
existed
things,
for a long
but
time, yeah.
I don't know if I would vote for it for this award.
Yeah. And then you go to Spider-Man, which is a fantastic game. And, like, the city in itself is a big undertaking. But it's not any different than the Arkham games. When it comes to, like,
Really?
the play
There
it's
is-
the same type of thing. It's a button masher.
Yes and no. Like, okay, so Spider-Man's getting my vote. And
of course.
mainly because I haven't played Red Dead Redemption. If I did, maybe my vote would be different. But for me, with Marvel's Spider-Man, because of the design and the biggest thing of like, oh, you felt like Spider-Man. And yes, you could say kind of the combat was kind of Arkham-esque, but I would say it's better than Arkham with all the stuff that you could do, all the different abilities you can, like gadgets you can have that are different than the Arkham beat 'em up, where this is more like, oh, I get to twip, and I can hang them from this and swing kick to this, and the swinging in general, so innovative to where you actually felt like Spider-Man. So I would say, for me, it's between Red Dead and Spider-Man is who this award goes to.
Yeah. It's tough because I didn't play Spider-Man. So I can only go off of what I've seen and what I've heard from it. But to me, it feels so much like an Arkham type of game, just with a different skin on it.
Yeah.
And people can get mad in the comment section if they want. But then there's Red Dead Redemption, which I've already talked tons of praise about. but I don't know
is it anything new?
Yeah, it's very much like
It's a highly polished GT. It's a highly polished sequel to a game that we knew well in Red Dead Redemption.
Yep.
And then
Feels like GTA
influenced
5.
heavily by GTA 5 success. So did they? I mean, look, there's a lot of cool things they did in the game, but was it really innovative?
And that's the thing I struggle with this type of list is like maybe we're hampering too much, or maybe I am on the innovative part, but I don't think
vision,
any
innovation,
of these
game
really
direction,
to
and
me
design.
scream out like this game was innovative. Except for I really do like the description of A Way Out. It's not like it's unique. It's not something that nobody's done before. It's been done multiple times. Not maybe the escaping prison part
But
of
the
it.
dual play.
Yeah, that's been done multiple times.
And like you gotta work together.
But at
to
least
get
it's
out.
a little bit more unique. So by that, screw it. That gets my vote.
I like it. Ricky, your vote was Spider-Man.
I'm going Spider-Man. The way they made you feel like Spider-Man, the city was beautiful, the characters were beautiful, the story was amazing. Like the entire game was designed very well, and they made the whole fact of making you feel like Spider-Man was so much more innovative than any other Spider-Man we've ever gotten.
Bold
Spider-Man
call.
game
Other
we've ever gotten.
Spider-Man games suck.
I'd say literally
Yeah.
the last Spider-Man game that was good. I feel like this was just an uber upgrade of that.
Yeah, like I mean, it's not hard to be better than most of them, but it was.
My money, I'm actually going Detroit Become Human.
like it.
I thought that was
Amazing game.
a step out into a direction. I think it took a lot from the previous games, like you said, but I felt like they took it to another level, and they did it better than anything we've seen up to this point. So
it
that's-
definitely is the best of their games they've come out
Yeah.
with, and for a long time, Beyond Two Souls was sitting up there as like one of my favorite games. I loved that game so much.
So there you have it. We are split here. You guys will have to decide that one. The last one I want to hit, and there's many other awards, but the last one I want to hit here is for something that kind of hits hard for me because I feel like these guys don't get enough credit, and that's best performance. So, or to an individual for voice acting,
I love
motion
this
capture,
award.
No, I was hoping
and performance
you wouldn't go
capture.
to this one.
So this one, these are the guys behind the screen. This is what pulls you into the game. This is what gets you.
This is
truly.
a hard one to pick from too.
It
from
truly
who's
is.
nominated.
So we have Brian Deckard for Connor from Detroit Become Human. Christopher Judge as Kratos, which, oh my God, his voice has such a gravitas to it. Jesus Christ. I can't pronounce her name.
Cassandra.
But no. Is it Melisanthe?
Looks right.
Close
Call
enough
me
for
wrong. That's cool.
I'm bad
as
at names,
Cassandra.
so
You know what's funny about that?
Yeah.
I watched a video before the podcast waiting for you guys to come to the studio of her and the guy who played Alexios.
Yep.
both of them liked Alexios's voice and voice acting better than hers.
And yet,
Yeah.
she's the one who gets in. So Mel Santhy for Cassandra in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Roger Clark for Red Dead Redemption 2, and then Yuri Lowenthal for Peter Parker in Spider-Man. Boys, this is a tough one.
It is tough. It is
And
tough.
I feel like we're mentioning the same 5 games in every single category. That's because they're that fucking good.
They're great. Like,
But
and like we didn't talk
Like,
about the indie games. The mobile
we
games
did
and
not.
stuff
I
like
stuck
that.
to the mainstream stuff
Yeah.
because I want to cover stuff that we've all been
for
very
sure.
familiar with. I don't want to give discredit to stuff we haven't had time to invest in.
and most of these too,
Yeah.
like, are in the best game of the year.
Yeah.
But you got to think about how this year went. For me, like, with different podcasts
Roller
I listened
coaster of
to,
emotions.
number one, it was like, Celeste, game of the year, don't change it. Oh, wait, this came out. This is Detroit Become Human. Okay, this might be it. Then it was like God of War came out, and everyone's like, no, this is game of the year. Then Spider-Man, no, wait, this is. Now Red Dead, it's like, this is game of the year. I think this could be the closest vote that we have seen in a long time for.
And let's be honest, there's a million different gaming awards type of things. So
Yeah,
every
but I'm
single
talking
one of
about
these,
for the gaming awards.
every single one of these games is going to win
They're,
game of the year.
they're
from
all
somebody.
award-winning games.
Yeah.
It's just the question of for this
Every
specific...
single one of them will get to say their game of the year
I hope so.
because they will all win it at some point from
They
someone.
all these games deserve an award of some sort, though. Like that's the thing. They all made it to the table. They all deserve it. But best
I like
voice
watching
acting.
Ricky actually vote.
I logged in with my
Throughout the
Twitter,
did?
and I'm
thing.
actually voting.
All right.
I'm going to vote for all 30 on my own time.
I like it. I like it.
He's gonna make us sit here and watch him do it.
That's what this podcast is. Let's just bring the camera in behind Ricky. Let's click vote
Let's see.
now. But
There's actually one more category after this that I just want to
you can
voice
tag
out.
on.
But
I just need an opinion for this, though.
Yeah,
you
I
guys
know.
give me something.
Yeah.
Give me-
I'm between two. Like, Kratos is great. Honorable mention for Kratos.
yeah.
For Christopher Judge, but I feel like I've heard it before. And for me, it's between the two games that I've actually played.
Yep.
Cassandra and Peter Parker. Because Yuri, I know you're not my Peter Parker. My Peter Parker, I grew up in the 90s. Then my Peter Parker
The animated.
was basically Drake and Josh was my second Peter Parker. He sounded like Peter Parker.
Yeah.
It made me believe he was Peter Parker. But for me, I'm going to go with Cassandra, basically, because that was one of the redeeming portions and actually made me feel thankful that I switched from Alexios to Cassandra. Like, the way she would inflict her lines was like, yes, you are bringing
to
the
be fair,
story
Alexios,
out.
there was some sort of douchiness to his character that you really got out.
And spoiler alert, by the way,
Yeah.
like I didn't play Alexios far enough to know this.
Yeah.
But for me, because when you first meet the cult that you're supposed to like kill everyone in, your brother or your sister, depending on who you pick,
Yep.
is Diamos, like their god. And he's like, he was decked out in like the golden armor and was basically like, I am a god. Bow to me. And he just fit that character way better than me than Cassandra would. But like how she would answer things and the choices that I made and how she would answer them, I'm going to go with her because also she had to do different, like all the different inflections for whatever choice you wanted to make in that game.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I have to get some credit for the voice actor who played Connor in Detroit Become Human, because same thing. Based on the choices you make, is this going to be angry when he says it? Is it going to be not angry? The thing that I think is difficult for Brian here, Brian Deckert, is the fact that he played a robot. So he had to be a little bland
A little
times.
emotionless.
Yeah, at times he had to be a little bit bland, but then he seeps some of that emotion in, and he does a really great job with it and getting more and more emotional. But you can have a playthrough where the whole time you're like, nope, I'm an android. Sorry. But the thing I gotta say a little bit, and I don't think it's that huge of a complaint necessarily, but the reason why I can't vote for the voice actor for Arthur Morgan is because I said this to you, Ricky, like right after I first started playing Red Dead Redemption. He just kind of sound like this and real hard to understand what he said. Well, that's a cool boy. Like, it's just so hard to ever
Talking to the
understand
horse there
what
at
he
the end.
says.
That's a good boy.
Yeah, that's a good boy. Like,
Don't you feel-
that okay, boy?
I feel like it's like the ultimate, like when I imagine
Cowboy
stereotypical
fantasy.
cowboy fantasy, like that's the fucking voice, and he nails it.
He did, but it's so hard to understand anything he ever says.
That's fair. That's fair.
So that's the thing I can't do. But I do love to listen to him play and go, "There you go, boy," and it's just like, oh man. But I actually am gonna vote for Yuri on this one because I do agree. It sounds very much what I think Peter Parker should sound like. It's very It's just, to me, it sounds like Spider-Man. It sounds like Spider-Man, so that's my vote.
No, that's fair. And I'm not gonna help this out. I'm going Christopher Judge.
Okay,
I
that's
almost
what I
picked
thought.
Christopher
Like
Judge.
100%. And I'm sorry, I've known Christopher Judge early on in my life. My family is big sci-fi, so like Stargate, he was Teal'c, and like I watched a million episodes. I've probably seen Stargate through twice at least. So like his voice, instantly when I heard the voice, I was like, I know that voice. Where do I know that voice from? Like there's something about it that resonates, and then it's just. As I watched the gameplay, because I watched the full story through
He was also a mercenary security in Dark Knight Rises.
He was in a lot of
Specifically
things.
number 4.
Yeah.
He was also in Snow Dogs. Let's just
He
not
was
talk
also
about
in
that.
World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth.
Yes, he was.
Damn.
He's
said
been
that, though.
busy.
You said Garaktal.
No, I said I was saying Teal'c from
okay.
Stargate SG-1.
Yeah, come on, Ricky.
Gotta respect. But
Seriously.
no, he's been doing a lot of voice acting. He's a great voice, and honestly, like I watched the playthrough for God of War, and I sort of like I had a weird relationship with his character in the game, obviously because it's a weird relationship storytelling kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like I just totally bought into it, and like I don't know, I was just totally all in on his character, and I thought like him as a voice actor and him as a capture actor as well, like it was just perfect. Like this is fucking dope. So I'm going with Judge. You guys again, I have to decide. I mean, Peter Parker, all due respect. I got mine. You do you.
I have to give Assassin's Creed something. And
Yeah.
Cassandra was... If I would have played Alexios, I would have went with Yuri.
Okay.
But it's because I
You
played Cassandra and
so you
I
built
actually
that
know
bond.
it. Like...
There's a lot of emotion in these, you know?
The other thing I want to give just one thing of love to
No, be my
is
guest.
I'm a music guy.
Yeah.
Best score in music. And for me, it's like the nominees are Celeste, God of War, Spider-Man, Ni no Kuni 2.
Correct. That's the way to say it.
Never played that one. And then Octopath Traveler and Red Dead.
Yep.
Out of the games I've played out of this, Spider-Man has to be last only because it was good. But like already into God of War, I'm like not even a quarter through the game.
Oh yeah.
The first fucking note, I was like,
There was a sense of
like, this is
epicness
amazing.
in it. It definitely helped.
but I got to give my vote to Celeste. Like that game musically, like the music helped the story
Yeah.
to where, because it's a game all about anxiety and like depression.
Yep.
And it made you feel anxiety through its music, through its joy. And I'm going to give that the best score with God of War.
Music
my
and
runner-up.
storytelling.
There you go.
Oh,
Nice job.
amazing.
Mark?
God
where
of
do you-
War.
God
It's
of War.
badass.
I thought I was going to be the one trying to talk you off the Red Dead Redemption ledge because, like, Red Dead
music?
has a epic score to it, and
It's good. It
It
is
constantly
good.
hits the right notes in the right scenery. Like, I think they pin down the like, how do you want me to feel right now when I'm seeing this grand view?
Yeah.
When I'm traveling across the countryside, doing nothing but just riding a horse around. Like when I get into a shootout, like I felt like they had the right music for every instance in the game that I've come across, and I got to give it to God of War anyway.
It's just so badass.
You feel fucking epic. So, Mark, do you have any category you want to give a shout out to?
I would have to scroll through things again to do it. There was one who I would have given the win to Detroit Become Human. You're going in the wrong direction. It would be up. I think it was just one of those like creativity, creative storylines, something like that. It's gonna show up.
Best
narrative,
narrative?
actually.
Best narrative, yeah.
Best narrative, yeah.
For
I mean,
outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game.
for me, that's an easy one. Although Life is Strange 2, I'm sure that deserves a lot of credit
Nominees
for
are
it, but-
Detroit Become Human, God of War, Life is Strange 2, Episode 1. Only Episode 1.
Right.
Marvel Spider-Man, and then Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an
I
awesome
agree with you,
story.
Detroit Become
and
Human.
there's like
Yeah.
a million different versions of that story that
It
you
should
could
walk
tell.
away with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No? I think that just about wraps things up this week.
I'm going to give
for us.
Spider-Man, but that's because I played Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you missed out.
Like, I didn't play Detroit like you. I didn't watch Detroit
like
you.
me. Yeah, that's fair. I'm a big person who
Dave
watches
kind
video
of beats
games.
both of us because Dave doesn't play it. Dave will go out and watch it.
I
if
watch
he's
other
not gonna
people play it, or I do the Let's Plays, like one way or the other. I enjoy the content in a different way, but I think as long as you enjoy the game, you enjoy the game. Quick shout to Darksiders 3 dropped recently. If you're looking for a good old-fashioned, like, Prince of Persia-esque, old-school, like, slash-through game, it's fun. It's pretty straightforward. It's got some puzzles in there. It's a good game. Just give it a chance if you guys want to. Just toss it out there.
Also, it'll be interesting for best independent game.
Oh, yeah.
Celeste, I think, will run away with it. I want to know. I'm interested to see how many votes or what percentage of the votes Dead Cells get, because Dead Cells, good game, but like after I died 5 times, I was like, all right, I'm not advancing past the second level. I'm putting this down.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think that just about wraps it up for us this week on Too Old to Game. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Leave a comment down below. Love reading them. Love interacting with you guys. Love to hear some of your picks for who should win Best Game of the Year. Any of the other categories, to be honest. Like, we covered
Even
a
ones
handful.
we didn't mention.
Yeah, we covered a handful. So if you got one that you want to talk about, I want to hear about it. But that'll do it for me. I'm Dave Oster, Ricky Widmer, Mark Weber. We'll catch you next time.